This is the last video in the series for Chapter 10, Triangle Trigonometry, looking at oblique triangles and solving oblique triangles. So again, looking at the flowchart, we are not going to go down the path of the right triangle. We've been there, and we also are not going to directly use the sine rule. Notice I said directly this time. When we look at the next triangles, you're going to notice that they're not right angles, and they don't have a side and an opposite angle. So we're going to be looking at a different law of cosine. So the last video we looked at case 3. By the way, if you didn't catch it with the last one, I've made these changes, I believe, every time. Make sure that that's a C squared when you're using this formula or writing it down or using it for your test. So again, sorry. So going back to case 3 is what we just did, where we had two sides and an angle that was included by them. You can go back to the last video and watch that one. Or and then the next one we're looking at now is case 4, where we are given all three sides. So notice all four cases, case 1, 2, 3, and 4 are all different. Make sure that you have those written down on your sheet when you're going into the test, and I would recommend following the flow chart to hopefully be able to solve the problem. So in this case, let's go ahead and look and see what we've got for a problem. And as an example, so in this case, we are given a triangle with three sides. Now again, given a triangle with three sides, first thing you might say is, I can use the Pythagorean theorem. Make sure you don't, because it's not a right triangle. Okay, and so it doesn't say that's a right triangle unless it explicitly says this is a right triangle. Don't go for the Pythagorean theorem. But you do know that case 4, the law of cosines, says that you can use the laws of cosines to be able to figure this out. So following the flow chart, it's not a right triangle that you know of. You don't know the side and opposite angle, and then so you're going to be forced to use the law of cosines, and I'm going to be forced to copy this so I can put it down here, I bet. And so you're going to use the law of cosine. So when you're given a problem and it has all three sides, what you want to do is you want to use the law of cosines to find the largest angle and the angle opposite the longest side. So you already know the largest side, so you know that the largest angle is going to be opposite that. So in this case, let's see, did I put the problem down here? Nope. So in this case, we're looking at side A is 106 meters, B is 135 meters, and C is 165 meters. C has the longest side, and we are going to use, that means then that we will use, and make sure that I get here, that we are going to use, as a matter of fact, to find the first cosine, we're going to use this formula right here. So make sure that is a C squared when you're doing this, when you're solving this problem, or else you won't get it right. So let's go ahead then and plug this in. And so we're going to we're looking for cosine C, because we're trying to complete the triangle. And we know A, it's 106 squared, plus B, which is 135 squared, minus C, minus C, which is 165 squared, over 2 times A, which is 106, times B, which is 135. Okay, so now we'll just, like I like to say, just plug and chug. And so we'll go ahead and write cosine C equals, and 106 squared. Let me get my calculator. let me make sure that I've got this completely cleared. 106 squared. Whew. It's a long night. Sorry, folks. All right. 106 squared. Remember, calculator errors can lead to big problems. Make sure that when you get a number that you look at it and you go, is that right? Make sure that you're not having a calculator error and that it makes common sense for what you're putting in. 135 squared is 18,225 minus 165 squared is 27,225 over 2 times 106 times 35, 28,620. So let's go ahead then, and we're going to calculate up what we've got on our numerator. So 11,236 plus 18,225 minus 27,225. Okay. And so that should equal 2,236 over 28,620. So divided by 20 gives me sine C equals 0.078, and excuse me, that is cosine. Make sure you get that right too. Don't just, there we go, cosine C. So make sure that we do that, and we're going to go that, and we want to go with our inverse cosine to be able to find the angle, and that says that the angle of C is 85.52. Okay. And so now going back up to, no, we never drew a triangle. So, but we know that we have a triangle with sides of 106 meters, 135 meters, 165 meters, and our angle C is going to be 85.52, not quite 90 degrees. So now that we have this, we need to be able to, well, I'm just going to draw a triangle. We're going to figure it out, but this is kind of a hint of what we're going to do down here. Let me hide that a little bit so I can draw my triangle. Now we have an angle, and we know that that's not 90 degrees, that's actually 85.52, and that's degrees. And that is with, that's angle C, and side C, which is our longest, is 165 meters, and side B, which we'll call this B, this is little c, this is B, is 135 meters. And I hope you guys draw triangles too to help you out. If that helps, that's the reason why I'm doing this. 106 meters. And then so now what this says is I still need to find angle A and I need to find angle B. Well, you know, I could run back and do laws of cosines, but good gosh, that is awfully long if you just don't have to to do it. So, since you know all the sides, and you know one of the angles that is opposite one of the sides that you know, well then, how about just use the law of sines? So, we'll go ahead then, and since we already know the angle opposite of sine C, let's find sine A, and we're going to be looking for, let's see, make sure. So sine A, so I'm going to put that on top because that's what I'm looking for. Keep that in the numerator. And I know that angle, oh, excuse me, you know what? I did that backwards here. There we go. So this is angle B, and this is angle A. There we go. So I know that angle A, or I'm going to look for angle A, and I know that side A is 106 meters. Okay, and I already know sine C is 165 over sine 85.52. And so let's go ahead and get sine A by itself. So we're going to multiply 106. We're going to multiply 106, and that will cancel these out. And we'll go sine 165. And remember, we're doing sine now, times 106 divided by sine of 85.52, and that will give us no, because that is a number that should just automatically flag and say, nope, there's something wrong with that. And so I'm thinking about taking this out and deleting this part, but you know, this is actually a good learning lesson. So, because this could happen to you too, when you look at this and go, all right, so what did I do wrong then? So take a look at it and go back into the problem and look at, I've got sine A over 106. So looking at my, yep, so sine A of 100, or looking for sine A, sorry, over 106, over 106 on the side, and looking at sine C, so sine C, no, that should be 85.52. Okay, that's where my error is. Let's go ahead then and get this corrected. And so this is what happens when you work too late at night, and so understandably, folks, so we go, well, let's go ahead and set this up. We're going to go sine C, which is sine 85.52. Make sure I get it right this time. 85.52 over 165 meters. Okay, now let's try to work this one out. And let's see, we're going to still multiply 106 times both sides so that we can get 106 off of this side. And let's try that now. So now calculating this, clearing the calculator, we're going to go sine of 85.52 times 106 divided by 165 gives us a number for sine A that looks much more reasonable. There we go. So 0.640, and to figure out what that angle is, of course, we just do the inverse sine, and we get 39.A2 is angle A. 83 when we round that up. Okay, so 39.83. Let's go ahead and add that in here. 0.83. Now the only thing is we need to find is angle B, and we can do that without a whole lot of fuss, because we know from our interior angle inside angle theorem that 180 minus 39.83, 180 minus 39.83 minus 85.52, because we know those angles already, and go ahead and get that figured out here. And that is 180 minus 39.83 minus 85.52, and this angle right here is 54.65 degrees, and that ends up completing your triangle. And so you have solved your triangle. And so just with that, that is the end of the videos for chapter 10 and for this module. And if you have any questions, make sure to go back, look at the PowerPoints, look at the video. There's some great other sites out there for you to look at. And remember, if you make a mistake, always persevere, keep driving on. All right.